And welcome, beloved goddesses and gods, to the Zorra of Hollow Earth Blog Talk Radio today. And, of course, today is November the 17th, 2018. We thank each and every one of you as the one that we are for coming and bringing with you your divine energy and love for the show. And we thank you as well for helping to continue to raise the vibrational frequency of humanity, all inhabitants of Terra Christa and Terra Christa herself. And so we shall go ahead and begin. Our special guest today is going to be Zaraya. And since there are a number of you that are new to our call, we thought it would be a wonderful time to just kind of go backwards a little bit and bring in a little bit of history to the Zorra of Hollow Earth Network, or now just the Zorra of Hollow Earth. Okay. So with that, maybe I'll just bring in Zaraya right now, just so Zaraya can say a few words, and then we'll go ahead and begin with our invocation for today. Good morning, Zaraya. Zaraya, I can't hear you. Oh, hold on one second. Let me get you on. Hold on. All right, Zaraya, can you try that again?
Of course you couldn't hear me when I was muted.
Okay, so go ahead and, I thought maybe you might want to say a couple of words before we begin with our invocation today. And welcome to the show.
Okay. But I'm going to give you a little outline, basically, of what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about my life in Hollow Earth and going back to my childhood and things of this nature, and what I remember about Hollow Earth and the peace of it, and of course the goings on that happens there, and so you're in for an education, I guess, if you want to call it that. And education, and also stretching your mind a little more than what you are used to. Because remember, in Hollow Earth, there's no time. So they don't, like here on the Earth, you gauge time by night and day, okay? And by your watches. But in Hollow Earth, the sun never sets, so it's light all the time. Oh, okay. Well, that's enough. So I'm going to let Zaraya, Quasar, go ahead and do the invocation, because I don't want to let out all the beans right now. So. Anyway, so go ahead with your invocation, my dear.
Thanks, Zaraya. All right. Everyone, just get yourself settled in on a chair or on the floor, and back straight or up, or by a tree if it's still warm enough for most people to be there. And
of course.
And here
it's always best to be outside.
Go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put Zaraya a little bit on mute here, so we have as much silence without interruption. Okay. Take 3 or 4 deep breaths in through the crown. Bring in that brilliant white light all around it, and let it flow in as it begins to heal. It begins to bring in this golden light of love and energy, along with a beautiful pink, and let it just kind of swirl around in your head. Bring it all the way down. Let it settle in throughout your body, and then let it settle in into your heart mind, right over there where your heart is. And then as you release or you exhale, just let go of all the things that you no longer want or need as you're thinking about them, things that you have pressures about, things that have been kind of that you've been struggling with, anything that no longer serves you. All those remnants still of part of 3D and 4D that no longer needs to be in your space. So take another deep breath in. Hold it. And relax. Completely relax all of your muscles, all the bones, all the, your shoulders, your neck, all the way down to your fingertips. Relax everything all the way down to your hips, all your back, all the intestines, organs. Relax your thighs, your knees, calves, all the way down to your toes. And one more time, take another breath in. Hold. And relax. When you relax, you could breathe out through your nose or you could breathe out through your mouth. And when you deep breathe out, just kind of get that exhale to where it's all that stale, all of the toxins. You can kind of just say, and just get that all out of your system. And now breathe easily. And we shall begin with our Saint Germain's invocation of the violet flame of transmutation, which we will continue to do this always. Go ahead and do this for yourself. As often as you feel empowered or you feel that urge to do so, about releasing. We are still at releasing all of everything we no longer need presently in order for us to be fully fifth dimensional, in order for us to really fully awaken to who we are. And so here we go. And we thank Saint Germain for this wonderful invocation as well. I am my I am presence. I breathe light into my heart center. I am a temple of light and love. I call forth the full power of the violet flame of forgiveness to transmute the causes, core, effects, habits, records, and memories of every thought, feeling, word, or action I have ever expressed in any time frame or dimension, known or unknown, that reflects anything associated with such things as poverty consciousness, victimhood, separation, powerlessness, low vitality, suffering, ill health, disease, misuse of male or female energy, misuse of power, self-hatred, shame, belief in being bad, fear, rage, blame, hatred, negative judgment and prejudice, attachment to people doing things my way, or lack and limitation of any kind whatsoever. And so with love and forgiveness as my intention, I blaze the violet flame through every atomic and subatomic particle and wave of precious life energy that we are, that has my signature on it in any place and time that reflects anything less than the infinite perfection of my God or Goddess self. I trust Prime Creator, Source, Mother, Father, God, and my God, Goddess self, to transmute every speck of my being into the highest love and light and health. I ask my I am presence to fill the space with the golden light of Source, Prime Creators, Mother, Father, God's infinite, eternal light, love, health, and abundance. In the name of my God, Goddess self, I accept this as fully accomplished, and it is done. So be it. Now, I feel this wonderful love energy, divine energy that you are, and that it fills you from head to toe, from the inside into every stem cell, every particle, subatomic particle of who you are. And you feel that, you feel and see the golden white, pink light just sparkle all over, inside and out of you. And you can feel this aura, you can feel your aura, you could see your aura expanding, spreading out beyond yourself, beyond your abode, beyond your community, beyond your state. Bring that all the way out, beyond the borders of your continent, all the way out, so that we can begin to see and feel that we're all together as one on our beautiful Terra Crista, and send that out, all the way out to the cosmos. You are all that powerful love and light being. And we thank you all for your presence, for your love, and for being here for each other. And now relax. And let us begin our show. Beautiful, everyone. Just beautiful and grand. And I will go ahead now and let's bring Zaraya back as she begins her story. For many of you who haven't heard this wonderful story of Zaraya, and this how we all started together to come together as this huge community that we are now. Zaraya, welcome again.
Okay.
There you are. So as
yes,
you were
I'm
starting
here.
your story, so begin all the way back, as far back as you remember in Hollow Earth, and maybe as far back, I don't know whether or not you can see how you were born, whether you can see when you were 1 or 2 years old, in your time frame. Tell us, start as far back as you can, and then talk about your childhood for this particular episode today. And then we'll bring your dad in afterwards to fill in some of the blanks, and we'll get started with some updates. So thank you, Zaraya, for being here.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. And let's see now, going back. Oh, boy. That's a tall order. Okay. So, what I need to let you people know is that that your Earth is hollow. I mean, when I make that statement, a lot of people are going, "What? What do you mean it's hollow?" Well, the best way to explain it is this: when planets are formed, they're as they spin, there's all of the lighter material is thrown outward from the center, and it creates an opening. And in the very center of your planet is a central sun, and that shines out through polar openings, known as through your northern lights and southern lights, and that creates your aurora borealis. It's a reflection from our central sun. And as the Earth cooled, then of course it created this great opening in the center of your planet. And the population that lived there at that time were called the Orionians. And they were wonderful, peaceful people. And they welcomed our race, the Lemurians, into their domain after the submersion or after the covering of the continent of Lemuria. And we took up residence in there. Our home world is called Lemur. And that is what the people of today call Nibiru, or the Planet X, or whatever you want to call it. But its actual name is Lemur. That's the home world of the Lemurians. So that's where we came from, our heritage. And then we came to the earth and took up residence in Lemuria, because Lemuria was a very passive, peaceful continent, and they wanted nothing to do with war or what's called out of conquest or any of that. They didn't want none of that. They were lovers of music. They were lovers of art and beauty, and that was their essence. And don't get me wrong, they were quite capable of defending themselves if they needed to. But they chose the peaceful path. Now, whereas on the other hand, the Atlanteans were conquestors, and they wanted more and more land and stuff like this. So they caused a lot of upheavals on the earth and things of that nature. So we won't even go into that right now. But I'm telling you that your world was a much different world than what it is now. When Lemuria was above the oceans, it was a glorious, wondrous valley, lush plant life and animal life. There were dinosaurs, yes, but dinosaurs were not carnivorous creatures. They're all vegetarian, and that includes the T-Rex. So people say, well, how can the T-Rex be not carnivorous? It has jagged teeth. Jagged teeth were used for tearing leaves off of trees, so and foliage and stuff like that, not to consume another being. And they also spoke with telepathy, so that kind of gives you an idea. They were quite intelligent. And there was I won't go into to their history because it's not important. Going back into my time, my existence, I remember as far back as walking through the grass and the underbrush, and walking with my parents, Zorra and Zaraya. And we were very, very, everything was so in harmony. As to my birth, I was created from thought. They didn't go through copulation as they do on the surface of the earth. They did not reproduce man and woman together. I was created from thought. So that kind of bends the minds of you on the surface, in essence. But I do remember as far back as walking with my parents through the underbrush and the forests of the hollow earth, and it was so peaceful. Butterflies flying overhead. Of course, they were quite large, but insects, dragonflies, like with 10-foot wingspans. I mean, they were huge, right, compared to what they are on the surface. We had everything was just in a harmonious state of existence, and it was so peaceful and so calm. The trees sang, the flowers sang, the waters sang. the streams and the rivers and stuff like that, that all sang because of their joyous nature. And even on the surface, you were in the beginning, before the industrial complex came into existence, your rivers and streams sang. Your oceans sang. They weren't polluted as they are now. They weren't in turmoil as they are now. We had, in Hollow Earth, we have mer people, and we commune with them daily, on a daily basis. And on the surface, your world was the same. But before and this is before what you termed as the fall of man. And the mer people were a very peaceful race. And they've always been a very peaceful race. They have no thoughts of conquest or anything of that nature. They just want to live their lives in peace. And that's what you're not allowing them to do by, through your pollutions and things of this nature. But going back to the Hollow Earth, it was a time I thoroughly enjoyed. And we had also remember that our thought patterns were very, very advanced compared to what they are now. Yeah, that's true too. Also, when we were walking in the forests, we were in our birthday suits. Okay, we did not wear clothes. Wasn't no need. We had no feel or need for them, and we were naked, and that was nothing to be ashamed of, or because it was commonplace. In Hollow Earth, you dress as you feel. If you feel like going in the buff, you go in the buff. No one thinks of anything lesser or greater of you. Also, everyone in Hollow Earth are equal. There is no what you call hierarchy as there is on the surface. There is no what you would term as government per se. Everything is all held in common, and there's no monetary system in Hollow Earth. You simply you volunteer your time and your skills to each other in peace and in harmony, and that's the way it is in Hollow Earth. I wish it was that way on the surface, and it will be in over existence, but not presently. But after the disclosure takes place on the surface, your world will change in ways you can never possibly imagine. You'll have technology where you'll be able to duplicate or replicate whatever you want. There won't be any what you call need for or want for wealth, because everything will be supplied to the population as to their needs. In Hollow Earth, it's the same, that everyone works with everyone. Everyone is one. So there's no disputes or there's no disagreements and things of this nature as you have on the surface. None of that is present in Hollow Earth. That's why when people do accidentally or by accident or by design end up in Hollow Earth, it's because they are seeking a better way, a better life, and they've heard of the beauty of Hollow Earth, and they want it, and so therefore they go in, and or they want to go in, and they are either accepted or they are turned away, depending upon their state of consciousness. Now, understand consciousness is very important. In Hollow Earth, we have full and complete full consciousness. We are able to transmute. We are able to manifest in a twinkling of an eye. Okay, if you want, if say you want to have a structure in Hollow Earth, You simply think it, and it's there. You don't have to go through the process of building. In your mind, you build it, and in reality, you create it. So remember, thought is the creator, as thought always is. In Hollow Earth, when you think something, it's instantly there. And on the surface, you've been so corrupted and so caught up with so-called higher education that you can't. Your minds are overfilled and clogged and out of focus. If you could learn to focus your thoughts, you would shock yourselves, literally, because you have the same abilities that we have. You can manifest whatever you desire just from thought. But you also have to understand that you have to do away with all of your so-called education from the surface, because that's all corruption. That's all lies. Everything they've taught you when it comes to history or the makeup of the earth is a lie. All of it. Because it doesn't hold true. And when you go through the motions of research from yourselves, you'll discover that what they've taught you is a complete and absolute lie. And that's a fact. In Hollow Earth, the facilities of learning are, if you had them up here, they would be considered college level or university level or whatever. In Hollow Earth, there is no what you call first grade, second grade, third grade, all that. It's not necessary, because you learn by action. You learn by hands-on learning and thought. You learn from an early age how to think and how to create and how to manifest by simply concentrating to do it. Now, in Hollow Earth, like I said, there is no time. So my time, if you were combine time that I've been on the surface and time that I was in Hollow Earth, this is going to be a shocker for most people. 1,867 trips around the sun. That's my true age, if you combine the two, surface and Hollow Earth. But when I was with my parents walking through the underbrush, it was a wondrous and glorious time. We had pterodactyls they were our transportation, because we would commune with them, on a daily basis, and they would come down and land and ask us if we'd like to go for a ride. And of course, I obliged. I said, of course I want to ride. And I would get on the back of a pterodactyl, and off we'd go. And food for babies. Oh, okay. Well, we didn't have Gerbers. And we didn't need them. We started out with food that we ate were small berries, smaller than strawberries. You might term them blueberries. But we ate solid food. We didn't worry about eating mush that you feed your babies on the surface, but because of lack. But of course, in our society, when you're born, when you're created, you already have teeth, so you don't have to worry about growing teeth. They're already there. So we were able to chew. And so berries and fruit and fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. So when we're created fully functioning beings, able to chew fruit and vegetables and things like that, and we're able to digest better and all that. But food for babies was what you would consider on the surface a no-no, okay, like strawberries and or blueberries or grapes or whatever, and they were very, very nourishing. Of course, they're very large too, but of course, because we were large, our stature in Hollow Earth, an adult male and adult female, is adult males are between upwards of 15 feet or taller. Females are between 13 and 14 feet. Adult females. When before I came to be on the surface, my height was around 13 and a half, 14 feet, something like that. And my twin sister was the same. And so far ahead, we're going back. As toddlers, or considered toddlers, but at that time, we were fully educated about Hollow Earth and also about the surface world. We learned about the surface world far earlier than you would consider on the surface teaching children. But we already knew that the surface of the earth was beautiful, and we were able to see them on monitors and experience it and watch them. And also the library at Porto Logos, we'd go there, and we would see crystal slides of the surface of the earth and the beauty of it, and your forests and your rivers and your streams were crystal clear, and your skies were blue, and we were able to see the stars through these crystal discs. So we saw your surface as the beauty that it once was, and we longed to go there because of the beauty of it. But over time, or over existence, because time doesn't exist there, but over a period of existence, we had a visitor from your surface, and he was a military man. He was a Navy admiral. Admiral Richard E. Byrd. He came to our world because it was important for him to come to our world. He was a very inquisitive, put it that way. He had a lot of questions, of course, and he also, when he saw the beauty of Hollow Earth, he wanted to stay. The sister's names. Oh, okay. Well, my sister's name is Zaraya. So that would be Zaraya, I think. And of course, and my brother's, his name was, what was his name? Gabriel. Yeah, that was his name. But he was a very So we have we name our people, our children, as you would name them on the surface as well. There's a lot of Z, and a lot of Z names, and a lot of G names and things like this, but not as widespread as they are on the surface. People are named the same names. It's really interesting. Our schools are hands-on schools. They're not like the closest thing on your surface would be the Weldon. I think it's called the Weldon schools. Ones that they have their classrooms are outside, and they have learn hands-on, which is a better way to learn anyway, instead of going into books and stuff like that. But the schools were more advanced than what they are on the surface, because they teach you to learn and to use your mind. They allow you to be all that you can be, and I'm not talking about the Army, but I'm saying that they allow you to expand your mind, to exercise your thoughts, your creative ability. As you remember, as I've told you, thought is the creator, as thought always is. Whatever you think, you will create. If you create lack and poverty, you'll have lack and poverty. If you think prosperity and wealth, you'll have prosperity and wealth. Because as thought is the creator, then you want to change your thoughts of lack and poverty to prosperity and wealth. Start thinking on those lines, and your lack and poverty will fade away, and your abundance and your creativity to create wealth will come to the surface, and you will be able to create the wealth you desire, not just in monetary value, but also in thoughts, in manifestation, manifesting a home, manifesting transportation, or whatever. You have that ability within you. You are very
Zaraya?
Powerful beings, yes?
So I just want to kind of help get back on track in regards to your childhood.
Yeah, I know.
And then we're going to be having your dad come in very shortly, and this is just a small part of some information that that you haven't spoken about in a very long time, and this is to help others, kind of catch up on, who you really are. So if we go back again to your childhood, and you were talking a little bit, so let me ask you a couple of questions, in regards to that.
Okay.
So some of the things that you did as a toddler, what kind of activities did you do as a young child? So, kids that are toddlers here, they play with dolls, they play with little cars. What did you do? And tell me a little bit more about that schooling that you had. You'd always talk about, and your dad does, that thought is the creator. Your thought is the creator. So tell us how you went about going and talk. How did you begin, and when did you begin manifestation? So let's just go backwards a little bit. In terms of play, what did you do when you were very, very, very young?
When I was very, very young, I played with the insects. I played with the small critters that were around on the ground and also in the air, and we communed together. We were one. Everything that can communicate telepathically is one, and it's one language. So it's not a combination of different cultures or anything like that. It's a combination of being one with your surroundings. even arachnians, what you call spiders, 8-legged creatures. They were nothing to be feared. In fact, there were some large enough to ride, but the smaller ones, we would put them in our hands and let them crawl on us, because they were, they were a living being and were able to communicate telepathically. So we would commune with them as well. There was no fear of them. And also your serpents and things of this nature, your lizards and small lizards before they became big ones. And so they were, everything, all life in Hollow Earth speaks one language: mental telepathy. Okay? And that's a common place, in common all the time in Hollow Earth. You think a thought and or destination, and you're already there. It's just that fast.
And you were able to do that when you were young?
I was able to do it when I was very young.
Okay.
I would send a thought to a pterodactyl. I wanted to go for a ride. I would send a thought, please land, and immediately it would land, and I'd climb on its back, and off we'd go.
So that would be would that be a baby pterodactyl if you were young and short, shorter than 15 feet?
Yeah, baby pterodactyl. And mine,
okay.
mine. I grew up with mine, which was really nice. And whenever I want to go for a ride, or whenever he wanted me to go for a ride, he would appear in my location. So he was. So we grew up together. And
yeah. Okay. So how did you get? How did he become? A part of your life. I mean, did you manifest a pterodactyl, or were there groups of pods or communities of pterodactyl families, and then they said, I want to go play with Billy or Zaraya? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's groups of creatures that are, like pterodactyls and mer people and things of this nature. The mer people they have what they call pods, and the pterodactyls are in groups. So if you want to, you send a mental message to a group or a pod of mer people, then you would go to the ocean and simply walk into the ocean, and they'd be right there, and of course you'd commune with them. And you were able also, remember, by thought, you can also do the term shapeshift. So we could actually take on the shape or the persona of whatever group we're with to blend in with them. So when in the case of mer people, we were able to shapeshift into their being, into their appearance. Or if you wanted to even take on the appearance of a pterodactyl, you can do that if you thought.
And you could do that as soon as you were born? As soon as you were born, you were completely awakened? Or did you take a little bit of time to develop?
We didn't. We didn't have the. We didn't go through the procedure of going mama dada. Okay. We already had that knowledge within us, so we didn't talk in gibberish. We talked with our minds, of course. We talked, plainly, and complete sentences and all that.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have on the surface. On the surface, you have to go through a procedure of learning how to talk. But in Hollow Earth, and because it's telepathy, there's no process of learning how to talk. You already talk.
And you already walk.
And you already walk, yes.
So you're born and you're walking already.
Pretty much, yeah. We have, and there is, and we don't have any what you call malformed beings or handicapped beings that are born. Everyone is born complete and with all parts on them and all that, and they are perfect beings. We never went through what you call the fall of man. We never went through what you call well, we don't have religions, for one thing. We don't have a day set aside to go and worship. We worship Terra Christa as a whole, and so we don't have religions at all. There's no religions whatsoever in Hollow Earth. There's no need for it, because we didn't fall prey to what you term the sins of the world. We never had that experience of the fall that you had on the surface. But also remember, now this is really going to shake up a lot of you. Everyone on this planet lives on the surface. You are not from here. You're not from Earth. You're not from Terra Christa. You come from different star systems and different galaxies. You were brought here onto the Earth as an experiment to see if people could live on the surface of the planet. And of course, you did. You came. You were brought here, and you lived. You thrived. You created, procreated, and you populated the Earth. But you are all extraterrestrial. I know that
Zaraya.
kind of blew some minds.
Let's go back to Hollow Earth. We can.
I know.
I'm going to be asking your dad to come through here very shortly, but just to kind of bring your childhood so we're kind of complete in the understanding of how you grew up. So you grew up playing with insects. You grew up understanding how to shapeshift, and you could do that at will. You automatically just kind of knew you were born with being able to have mental telepathy with everything around you. But let's just kind of go back a little bit. So you grew up already eating adult foods, basically. So again, you have all these beautiful creatures that are always around you, right? But how about your friends? Other Lemurians like yourself. Tell us a little bit about them, or about what you guys did, or girls did, or go back a little bit and say, hey, we're all hermaphrodites. So tell me a little bit about that. What kind of genders are there in Hollow Earth?
Well.
And
okay, the genders are together to the point where we are hermaphrodite, male, female together, and because that's the way that life was meant to be. It should have been that way on the surface, and was in the beginning. But of course, when the Anunnaki came and messed things up, they did a separation there and brought separation to male and female. But in Hollow Earth, you do have your male and female parts, especially people who come from the surface. So some of the population in Hollow Earth are surface dwellers that have come in. And the original population of Lemurians inside, we are hermaphrodite.
Okay, but your parents are
male
not.
And female, one body. No, parents are male, female.
Separate. Oh, your dad is a hermaphrodite? And so is your mother. What about your parents? Yeah, so because we always speak
What?
of Zorra,
Yes.
we always talk of Zorra
Yeah.
as being completely male. So what you're telling me is Zorra is also a hermaphrodite.
Well,
maybe I better get your dad to come through.
You can't put a well, I won't say he's hermaphrodite. No. But I know that I was, and I know my sister was because she was a twin.
Okay. Okay.
And of course, my mother does not have a third leg, so yes, I would say that they are separate. There is a male and there is a female, persona. So
all right.
yeah. So, but the children. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna we'll have your dad talk a little bit more about that. But tell us a little bit more about your family now, and then it'll be time to bring your father through. So as far as your
let me
brothers
go
and
back.
sisters, who came out? Who came first? Which of your siblings? We want to talk a little bit about your core, your immediate family. So tell us a little bit about that.
My immediate family.
Right.
Well, Gabe came out first. Was created first, and then me and Zaraya came out into existence, and then so that's pretty much my immediate family. I have other brothers.
Oh, I thought you had a little
sister.
sister.
I do have a little
right.
sister, and she came out. Well, she came out way after us, but in fact, not long ago. But of course, she's already to the point where she has her own starship. So she craft, and
she
she's very
evolved
capable
very
of using
quickly.
It.
Right.
He evolved extremely quickly, and of course she's a lover of music. She's a lover of art and things of that nature. But of course, she also is a lover of travel too, and so she does have her own sentient craft as well.
So,
what I wanted to bring out was that on certain occasions, me and my father would come to the surface, and we would in a ship, in an aeroship. Sentient being, of course, but in our ships would come to the surface to observe the surface of the earth and how it was doing. And so now, when it comes to remembering back, this is a little bit more interesting, I think, because on the surface, when we came up, and observed the goings-on Terra Christa, we were able to observe America being formed, basically, such as the going as far back as the America becoming America. So that we watched the great what's called the wagon trains going across the Great Plains into different parts of America, making America. We watched the Civil War. And of course, we didn't really watch that much of it because we didn't really care about the violence that was going on. But and of course, we did see also on the surface, we saw the beautiful forests and rivers and streams and things of this nature as well, and the oceans and of course the mer people. And so we were able to observe life on the surface of the earth by means of observation, monitors, and things of this nature in our ships. And we were able to watch the development of your nation, which was interesting. But
I guess that comes back to how old you are.
It does. If you like I said, if you combine my hollow earth existence with my existence on the surface of the earth, it would be 1,867 trips around the sun. So that would make me older than anybody on this call, actually. But
on the planet, right?
On the planet, right? Except for others that have come from Hollow Earth. But in one incident that we observed was the World War II and how it began. Now, I want to bring this out to people because there's a lot of new people out there. There's a lot of veterans that are listening that you're going to be shocked at what you hear, but it's a reality. It's not a story. It's not a fairy tale. It's fact. Okay, now in December 7th, 1941, we were in our ship over the islands of the Hawaiian Islands, and we were watching Hawaii. And then we noticed a wave of aircraft, over 30 or more, coming from the big island of Hawaii. Now, these aircraft were American-made trainers, but they were painted to look like Imperial Japanese aircraft. And there was over 30 of them, came and flew over into the island, the Oahu, and people didn't take that much notice of them because they were American-made design. So they didn't take that much notice of them. But when they hit the base, when they hit the naval fleet, they took notice. And then an observation aircraft from the Japanese Imperial Air Force was flying over the Hawaiian Islands, was observing what was going on, contacted their home fleet in the Northwest Pacific, and told them, or asked them, why they were bombing Pearl Harbor. I said, we're not bombing Pearl Harbor, we're out here on maneuvers. And they said, no, we have aircraft with our symbol of our country bombing this fleet. So they knew immediately that they were going to be blamed for it anyway, so they sent in another wave of aircraft to finish the job. But the first aircraft that came in were your own aircraft. Now, I know that's going to shake up a lot of veterans, but it's a fact. Roosevelt needed to get America into the war, and to do it, he perpetrated this attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, you're going to say, oh, that's hogwash. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we know what we were talking about. We observed it. We watched it happen. So your own government got you into World War II. It's been that way ever since. So your government,
Zaraya,
and you also have to understand your nation was in a deep depression. There was no jobs. People were losing their homes, their farms, their houses, and they had to have a way out. So Roosevelt created this attack to rally Americans to get together, to rally Americans to begin the industrial revolution, if you will, and got America back on his feet. So that was the perpetration. That was the perpetration of putting America into the war to create jobs and things of that nature, and the economy and all this.
Okay.
And it's been that way ever since.
Yeah. Okay, Zaraya. Thank you. This episode is supposed to be about your childhood, and I know you wanted to bring some of these other important events, and we appreciate that. Yes. So we would like to be able to continue and maybe dive in more and talk more about Hollow Earth and your growing up there, and all of those things that were intrinsic and relevant
My
to
growing
all of
up
us
in
here on the. So, but I think we're kind of done for today, unless you want to put in a couple more sentences here. I think it's time for your father. So yes, go ahead and just go ahead and end this part with your childhood, if you will.
Well, what I'd like to do is, before I go any further, I've got a book here from Diane Robbins, and I want to read one thing out of it about the Mer people, because I think it's really important that everyone knows it, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Poem here, and it's by Diane Robbins out of her book called The Messages from the Crystal Kingdom. And she is the voice of the elementals. She is the voice of the Mer people and the hobbits and all of those
Crystal
beings.
Kingdom.
The Crystal Kingdom. And she put together a book that has the poems from those beings. But I'd like to read to you the Mer people poem, and it talks about how the Mer people that are on the surface of the earth. And we are the mermaids from ocean's depths. We've been hiding so long, though so few of us left. We went underground so we could not be found. Our mermen remain to protect our domain. Our lives are merry and filled with mirth, and during those times we did give birth. Our offspring are awesome and immortal as until the time humanity fell from grace and destroyed our race. Now that is over, and we've been given a sign that humanity's consciousness is now on the climb. This means we can show ourselves, we few that remain, and appear in the oceans and reclaim our domain. Our species are important and part of all life, and you will see us when there's no strife. We sit on the shorelines and bask in the sun, and as you approach, we will not run. We'll sit and smile as you approach and beckon you to swim with us. We'll be your hosts and show you the wonders of life in the deep and how much you've missed during your long sleep. The oceans hold wonders your eyes have yet to see, and if you come with us, you will be pleased. We'll show you our caverns that still exist, and you'll feel foam as it touches your skin with your gentle kiss. Our caverns are like castles molded in foam, in foam, with crystals and gemstones comprising our homes. We'll hold your hand as we leave the shore and take you with us so you can explore the ocean's depths without holding your breath. For the secrets of immortality will be revealed to you as you swim with us, and we guide you through the ocean's lanes into our domain, where you'll witness another species' time frame. Our lifestyles will amaze you as you witness our lives and enter our homes, for communities are covered with starlit domes of different sizes, shapes, and materials that will appear to you ethereal, but in reality are as hard as rock. But and support the structures through any shock. Talking about seismic activity. Pure diamonds and emeralds comprise our walls, and our rooms are very tall, for the ocean is vast, and we have much space to spread out our homes through God's pure grace. Our communities are small since the time of the fall, when we heard Peter and Wendy's call to leave the oceans for Middle Earth until the time of humanity's rebirth into the light and love of this new age. When we mermaids could again engage with you and begin to return. We repopulate and communities with no concern or fear, knowing that the seventh golden age is near. So we are here. We are starting to return, because of the lessons you all have learned. Never to war or bring strife to the earth, so that all life forms can evolve in joy and mirth. We thank you for hearing us and picking up your pen. We look forward to speaking with you once again. That's one of the poems that Diane Robbins put in her book, Messages from the Crystal Kingdom. She also has another book called The Messages from the Hollow Earth. And that's another book, one of her books. She has the Talk to the Trees and Telos and Cetacean. Call goes out to the Cetacean Nation. So I just wanted to mention that because these books are really important for everyone to have. Her website is www.dianerobbins.com, and go to her site and order her books. She'll get the full benefit of you buying them. Otherwise, if you go through Amazon, she only gets a very small portion of it. So, could I add to that, Zaraya? Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know, if you go to our website, you could go to services, and you will also see some of the services, and that will also include Diane Robbins. You'll be able to see that you can purchase the books, but she also has some audios that are now available too. So she is a wonderful, wonderful being, bringing all of these, the information that is not only educational, but they're very inspiring and uplifting. So we encourage you to, if you haven't done so, at least go ahead and get one. It'll help you as you're going through this our period of transition. So Zaraya, I think it's a little after 10 Pacific time, and we'd like to see if we could have your dad come through and maybe say a few more words. We still have a few things that we have to cover up for our call for today. And I know lots of people will be looking forward to hearing you again. We'll see as to when you will continue talking more about your all about Hollow Earth, as far as how much you know, and bring us up to the present. So we look forward again to maybe the next time you could talk a little bit more about your experiences with your father coming on the planet, as well as your teenage years, etc. Thank you so much, Zaraya. Okay. All right. So as Zaraya is leaving her body, Zorra will be coming through. Again, it's a change, a complete change of essences. So Billy's soul or
higher self, or the essence of who she is now going and transported right into Zorra's body, wherever Zorra is. And now Zorra is here with us. Zorra, good morning and welcome.
Indeed, beloved goddess. And how be you today?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. And thank you so much for, coming here to our community and sharing more of your teachings with us. So thank you for that. Before we go into updates, we would like to be able to see if you can kind of fill in a little bit more information from Zaraya's childhood. She was, moving. Actually, so if I can just ask a couple of questions, maybe that would help to kind of fill in a little bit of the gaps that were not complete. So, she was talking a little bit about her siblings, and I thought perhaps maybe you could fill in the blanks there. Also, you could talk a little bit also about, how well, maybe I need to get back. I need to go one more step. So you came from Lemur and with Zaraya. And Lemur, of course, is a planet which is is what we see as Planet X. And you resided there for how long before you came to Lemuria? Now, when you're talking about coming to Lemuria, did you go directly into the Hollow Earth, or you were on the surface of Hollow Earth? I mean, are you on the surface of Terra Christa?
Well, when we came to the Earth, we came to the continent of Lemuria. This is when Lemuria was, when your oceans were in the stratum around the planet. So you have to understand that there was on the surface of the Earth, there was what is called all land, no water, no oceans, as you term them. So the waters fell because of the conquest of Atlantis. So what happened there was that the Atlanteans were shooting laser lights into the stratum and creating instability into the stratum around the planet. So the oceans were around your planet, and so when they did this, it caused a falling of the waters. And now understand that the Lemuria, it was a valley, wondrous, luscious valley of foliage and creatures and things of this nature. You term them dinosaurs, and many people call them thunder lizards or whatever. But when the stratum fell, it filled up that valley. Now that valley is what would be considered your Pacific Ocean. Now your Pacific Ocean is a valley, and it does have plateaus such as the Hawaiian Islands and Japan and what is called Guam and what is called Australia and what is called Easter Island and New Zealand. All of these are great plateaus from the continent of Lemuria. Now, Australia is the largest portion of land. That was the most southern, southwestern portion of the continent of Lemuria. And that continent of Australia, if you were to do what is termed as to excavate, I think that is the term, dig down into the earth, you would find reminiscences of the continent of Lemuria, and they have They have done that in different parts of Australia in the outback. But the reminiscences of Lemuria that are still above the oceans consist of the Hawaiian Islands and Australia and New Zealand and Easter Island and Baja California and over into into California, into what is called Oregon, into Washington, and British Columbia, the Aleutian Islands, over to Japan, Ukraine, part of the Ukraine, and down into the Philippines, down into Guam, to what is called Midway Island is another plateau, and also down to the over again to Australia. That was the full circumference of the continent of Lemuria. Now that's the outline areas of it, but the center portion of the Lemurian continent was the Hawaiian Islands, or the plateau of the Hawaiian Islands. So that's the circumference of the continent of Lemuria. And when the stratum fell, it filled up the oceans, and of course, all that remained was the plateaus. So at that time, when we knew this was going to occur, we vacated our population into the hollow earth by going with our ships and taking our population into hollow earth through the North Polar opening. And that is what we did. Well, through the North and the South Polar opening, both. So we vacated the continent of Lemuria, knowing that it would be filled with water, and simply took up residence into the hollow of the planet. Of course, just prior to that, I went into hollow earth and spoke with the population who was residing there, the Arianians, who said, yes, you are more than welcome to come and be our guests, be our residents, become part of our residence. So we already had it pre-planned to go inside to build a population inside. So that's when the time came for us to do that, we were invited to come. So we were now having life in the center of your world. Now, we could have gone anywhere. We could have gone to Africa. We could have gone to South America or whatever. But we wanted the seclusion, if you will, of hollow earth, because we didn't want to undergo the earth changes that were taking place on the surface. So we took up residence in hollow earth. And that's what we did. So that is how we came to be in hollow earth. Did that answer your question?
Okay, thank you. Yes. So,
Indeed.
So we're talking today about Zaraya's childhood. Prior to Zaraya and you and Zaraya, or you talking with Zaraya about coming to the surface, we just wanted to get more information about Zaraya's childhood. So part of the childhood, obviously, is how did you see Zaraya growing up as a child? You know, what were his interests or her interests? She's a hermaphrodite, so I don't know what hermaphrodites, because they're both male and female, what those interests might be. If they're the same, I mean, do they lean more towards whether it's male or female, or how is that really integrated into being a hermaphrodite? And before you answer that question, the other question also is that are you a hermaphrodite, or is Zaraya female, or you are male? And you know, just going, if you could just kind of talk a little bit about that.
Zaraya is a female, completely female. and it does not have what is called male part. And I myself, I am complete male. Yes, I am complete male.
Yeah, so, all right. Now, Zaraya already told us that almost everyone in Hollow Earth, coming from your culture, almost everyone there is a hermaphrodite. How did you decide that both of you would be basically just male and female? How did you get to that? Why did you decide to do that for yourself versus hermaphrodite?
Because that's what we wanted to do. We simply made the decision to do so. But, but understand the early populations that were brought to the earth at that time, they were the same way, one sex, male and female together. And of course, it wasn't until the Anunnaki came and messed with the genes and things of this nature that there was a separation, which brought into existence male and female, separate. Before that, they were together.
You're talking about. So, I guess we're talking about humanity in general. So when you're talking about the Anunnaki interfering, you're talking about the Anunnaki interfering as well with the Hollow Earthians?
No. I'm only speaking of the surface world. I'm not speaking of Hollow Earth.
Okay. All right.
But understand, in Hollow Earth, there is no religion in Hollow Earth at all. So that we have no religion whatsoever, because there was no need for it anyway. Therefore, there was none. And as far as what is called the turmoil that you experienced on the surface of the world, we did not go to undergo that at all, and it never happened. There was no the Anunnaki were not permitted to tamper, if you will, with the population in Hollow Earth. It was forbidden. And, of course, they were quite upset about that, but that's the way it went. They were not permitted in to Hollow Earth at all. And they never had been. So the population in the hollow of the earth did not go through the what you call the changes that occurred on the surface. So when Zaraya was growing up, she was a happy child, very happy, with and her twin sister as well. And they were, how would I put this? Joy without measure is the best way to put it.
Indeed.
She was able to, we sent her to the school, which is called the School of Learning, but it was the learning part was simply, it was more of a hands-on type thing, and which is the best way to learn anyway, which is going to a place with other children, and you all are able to express yourselves in any way you desire. And, of course, that is the way that we educate our children, and with a hands-on experience, and able to, first we develop their minds. By developing your minds, you are simply opening up the avenues that they are initially born with, which is telepathy and other talents speaking with the animal kingdom and things of this nature, with the minds, with the heart minds. Now, in essence, when Zaraya was created, me and Zaraya came together and we said we would like to create an offspring. We, of course, another offspring, I should say, because we already had our child Gabriel, and also we also had the some other children as well, which it would take all day to give all the names, so we would not do that. And then we brought forth, of course, as we thought, Zaraya and Zoraya, and they were twins, absolute twins, identical, and so they were with each other all the time, and of course they experienced existence together, and they were inseparable, if you will, and their telepathy was extremely strong, very strong, with each other. And when they were separated on the surface, what transpired at that time, when they separated, the abilities that they once had together in Hollow Earth were severed, meaning Zaraya doesn't have the ability that she had when she was in Hollow Earth. There is a what you call an off switch, if you will. A simple way to put it. Her abilities were turned off.
And what was the cause of that, Zorra, again? I mean, it just can't be that she was that cause? I mean, was that was purposeful for her to be able to be here?
Yes. If she had retained her, which is called abilities that she had in Hollow Earth, she would have been what is called an outcast, if you will. Well, she would have also had extraordinary powers, and she would have been sought after by those of authority. And this we did not want to occur. So we did what was termed as to shut her off. So when she returns into Hollow Earth, she will retain all thought, all memory, and all abilities. Again.
Zorra, I have a question, Zorra.
Yes. Yes.
In regards to Zaraya, now,
yes. So
it was purposeful so that she could blend into this world, where we live, humanity lives, and so she could just be another person, like each one of us are. So, but I guess my question is, what besides Admiral Byrd coming, that was a big deal. So
indeed,
why, after all of that was said and done with Admiral Byrd, and that trip, and Zaraya came, and of course the diary was done, why did Zaraya not go back to Hollow Earth after that?
Because she had a mission.
This is apart from Richard Evelyn Byrd.
Yes.
And what was that, Zorra?
When she was brought to the surface of the world, her mission, and has always been her mission, to bring reality to the existence of our world, Hollow Earth, and also to bring the message that was given to Admiral Byrd back to the planet's surface. That was her mission, and still is. And so she was brought to the surface to experience life on the surface in the reality of third dimension.
And the purpose there is for what, Zorra?
Was to experience life on the surface.
Yeah, but what is the purpose behind that, Zorra?
Educate, if you will.
To educate.
For her, it was education. To educate her in the ways of the surface world and how she can interact with that.
Yeah, but why?
Why?
What's the necessity of that, Zorra? Why? Yeah, I mean, there's a bigger purpose behind that. So when she goes back to Hollow Earth, or whatever in terms of the cosmos, I mean, how is that all related? I mean, when you could just actually take her and bring her home, thank you very much for your service, Zaraya, and then she can continue her life there in Hollow Earth. What is all this purpose for her in order to go through all the suffering, all of this knowledge of learning about what we do here on this third dimension, fourth dimension? What's the purpose really for her to go through that?
It comes down to what is termed as experience, and that is putting it plain and simple. She is here to experience an existence on the surface, and of course, when she returns, she will regain all of her abilities, all of her what is called life, and continue on. And she will also be what is called, and as well as you, my beloved Quasar, you will also be what is called educated when you go into Telos and into Hollow Earth. You will be educated as well. So you're going to be going back to school.
Okay. So I guess maybe, yes. So I guess I just wanted to, maybe I'm kind of going around about as far as trying to get to the question
pinpoint.
of, well, I'm just wanting to know that there, for all of us here that's on this planet, there's a greater purpose. So the greater purpose, from our knowing is that, we're here because we're teachers, we're leaders, and we're going to, one of these days, once everything has evolved, we'll be going elsewhere. So,
and you will also, what is termed as being on the surface, you will also are here to rediscover yourselves, to rediscover who and what you are. Your heritage, your what is called your origin, if you will. You're here to learn how to become the beings you were meant to become. I always say gods and goddesses. You're here to rediscover your reality, your roots, your origin, if you will. And you are doing that, beginning to do that most rapidly, unbeknownst to you. Everyone is getting what is called downloads of knowledge in their sleep state. And soon all of this knowledge will come to the surface. So they're knowing this. And when Zaraya and Zaraya were brought to the surface, they were brought here for the purpose to experience life on the surface. All they knew before was life in hollow earth. So it was a ideal, existence, life. But they needed to understand and learn that there are other existences as well, was the purpose of bringing them to the surface.
Okay.
To
and
experience life as it is on the surface.
Okay. And of course, the other part of it, Zorra, of course, is because through Zaraya's body, you can come and do and teach us.
Yes, that too. That is another reason or another purpose.
That's a huge reason.
She is my vessel for me to communicate with you.
Correct. For all of us, for humanity. So, thank you, Zorra.
Indeed.
All right. And you know what? I think I'd like to kind of bring this up at this point. And I know it's, oh my gosh, it's almost 11:15. But I just, Zaraya, most of us have known Zaraya as being, a hermaphrodite. However, we've always also known her as with a male persona. Over her period of existence here, she's come to an awareness as well for herself that she is more female than male. So is that also what happens for people that are in hollow earth? They're hermaphrodites, but do some of them also feel like, oh my gosh, I think I'd like to be more female than male, and so then they can go ahead and shapeshift into full female? So tell us. Yes. Oh, okay.
They can.
And so in this case for Zaraya on the surface, she's decided to be female.
Indeed.
She wants to move in that direction.
Because her mind is more of the female persuasion than of the male.
Okay. So in hollow earth, the hermaphrodites can also either retain both, or they can choose one or the other, and then that becomes their choice if they wish over time.
It is their freedom of choice, yes.
Always. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Zorra. Now, since we only have about 45 minutes before the show ends, I'd like to we'll continue with talking more about Zaraya and life and your life with Zaraya, et cetera, about hollow earth. I know people would love to continue this, but we will do this at another Zorra of Hollow Earth call. So we would like at this time, Zorra, if you could give us some current updates on what is happening on our planet, and of course, the RV, et cetera. Tell us again from your viewpoint where things are presently.
From my viewpoint, it is done and complete already. But from the viewpoint of the surface peoples, they are still what is called not fulfilled. So I understand this, and it is frustrating, to be sure. But also understand that according to divine plan, everything is going according to schedule. So to bring forth what is called an outline of Prime Creator's divine plan, that would be what would be termed as trying a little bit too much. But so I will say what I can and will. But understand that your world is in a state of what's called ascension. And as it does, Mother Earth, or Terra Christa, has already ascended to a full fifth-dimensional understanding. And you are simply catching up with her. Many of you have already reached that full fifth-dimensional understanding, and you know who you are. But there are still others that are still not quite stepping through the threshold. They're hesitating. Do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? What is entailed in this? And things of this nature. They're doing the analyzing and things of that nature. And, of course, analyzing does not accomplish. You need to simply step through the threshold and into the full fifth-dimensional understanding. As you do, your mind will become more clearer, your heart minds will become more clearer, and your understanding will become more clearer as well as your knowingness will become even more solid, more steadfast. The reality of what you are and who you are still eludes many of you because you are so caught up with your higher education, so-called higher education, and religion, and things of this nature, that your mind is what is called clogged, if you will, and you still need a little bit of what is the term they use on this? A little bit of prodding to make that step. What I will tell you is this: you are all gods and goddesses. That's a reality. That is not a thought. That is not what is called a conjecture or what is called a possibility. It is a reality. You are gods and goddesses. Plain and simple. You are also, all of you, on walking this earth, this Terra Christa, are all healers as well. You have the ability to heal yourselves and others. Keep remembering this. And the more it becomes reality to you, the more your consciousness will rise. So that is a good rule to follow. So when it comes to current events, if you will, there is movement going on within the what's this called, your International Monetary Fund issue, or what is called your bankers and what is called your financial institutions, and they are about to get the memo. What you call the memo, or what is called the revealing of
yes.
the procedure to take place.
Well, yes, it seems, Zorra. It seems, yes, Zorra, that more and more we're hearing that more people now have here in the United States have already, there's some small exchanges that have occurred already, and we see that the
yes.
screens have come and gone, and so there's still some little outlying things that still need to come into full, accord with the final green light. So, the green light apparently is at any time, which we all understand. And of course, we're all hoping that it could be done, around Thanksgiving time prior to Christmas. So we know that...
that is what, according to Prime Creator, that is, of course, it would be termed as the divine plan to occur, and we are moving forward to that end. Before what is called Thanksgiving would be ideal, of course, or shortly after, but the sooner the better is one of the terms I've heard, and which I understand you want it yesterday, but I would, yeah, and I would like to have brought it to you yesterday, but it was not to be.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Also understand that when the rates that are your international rates are very small. I've been told
right.
that they're small.
Right. Yes.
I think that
if I can, Zorra, I think yes. Zorra.
Yes.
Zorra,
go ahead.
From what
Yes.
I have heard or read, the international. This is, I think, according to Tony TNT, that the dong is street rates is 47 cents, which was that many years ago. We're not talking about contract rates, but street rates, and that the dinar is a little over $4, and et cetera. But, those aren't where you feel the rates are going to be when we finally exchange.
When you finally do your exchange, your rates will be, your international rates will be a little higher than they are now, but your contract rates will be extremely high. What I mean by extremely high is what is termed as what is called your Zimbabwe is what you call the sleeper, and sleeper, what's called, is fluctuating rapidly, but it's going to be in the triple digits. And what is called the dinar will be in the double digits.
Triple digit for the Zorra, triple digit for the Zim would be like what? What are your thoughts?
100 or more.
$100 per Zim?
Indeed, or more.
Per Zim note, per Zim dollar? Wow.
Indeed. Remember, understand, Africa in Zimbabwe, the state of Zimbabwe, is a very, very resourceful in resources, high in resources. They have gold, they have emeralds, they have rubies, they have diamonds, mines, and they are extremely rich country or state of country. And of course, the Chinese are backing them. So they're what is called, the value of their currency is going to be extremely high.
Yeah,
and
originally the Zim was, like a few cents only per note.
Indeed, that is because it was.
And now you're talking $100.
That's because it was a defunct currency, meaning that it had been put to have no value. And now that the country is coming to a more of a valued, realized to be a valued resource of the African country, that it is been allowed to re-establish value to their currency.
Yeah.
And,
so we're talking contract rates here for the Zim. The street rate, I remember way back when.
That is a contract rate, yes.
Right. So we remember back when it was going to be 22 cents, and then they were going to have the six digits, 6 zeros lopped off, and so it was going to even be less.
That will not occur.
That will not occur.
That will not occur due to the fact that they have classified it as a bond. And as a bond, you are not allowed to lop off any zeros.
Okay. All right. Very good. So it's important also for people to know that. And then as far as, I don't know what the street rates now are for the Zim personally, but can you give us a contract rate for the dinar and the dong?
The contract rates for the dinar would be around 50 to $75 per dinar.
Wow, that's also a huge increase from the last time.
It is a huge one. Yes, of course.
Also,
and your dong will also be according.
So the dong will probably be at least $25 or something like that, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So those are just
those are the
estimates.
Contract rates.
Yeah, estimates of the contract rates coming from Zorra. Of course, we all know that the street rates are always much lower. And now the other thing that they've spoken about, Zorra, in regards to the exchanges is that now, because it's come to this stage, to this time, that that everything is going to come out all at once, including the public. The public is going to be able to come out at the same time. The internet, Dinarland group of which we are a part of, will be coming out too. Everything is going to all come out at once. Do you see that happening?
It could very well be. Now, understand the timetable for everything to come into fruition at one time was to be what is called the exchange with the internet groups, and then later on with the civilian, and it was set apart. But because of the timing, it has now been brought closer together. And, and also, right after what is called the exchange takes place, then the preparations for the galactic disclosure starts coming into play. So that is why everything has been moved up or brought closer together.
Okay.
But brought closer together.
Yeah. So as far as, so now this is just a small part of it. We still have Gasara, Nasara, the GCR, St. Germain's Trust. I mean, so all of that is all going to come out at once?
It could very well come out all together. Yes.
Wow.
It could very well come out simultaneously. And because of the timing of the ascension, because ascension is accelerating, and because of that, everything is being pushed closer and closer together.
Okay.
So, and I have asked Divine Creator why, and he says because that is what Source wants. So we do what Source says.
Source wants this ascension for humanity. Yesterday,
indeed.
Maybe.
he also wants what is called. He wants the galactic disclosure to come forth most rapidly as well, because he wants the more and more people are speaking of the med beds and the healing chambers. All of this is for the betterment of mankind, and it must come about and must come to fruition. And the more and more that your governments are trying to put a stop to it, or put on the brakes, so to speak, the more we push. And of course, understand when we push, there's no stopping the push.
So this is what you're doing.
Your government.
Right. Okay.
We are much more powerful than your governments are.
Right. So, okay. So as far as the governments, talking about the governments and the little minions that are still running amok, with trying to stop things, where are we with all of that, Zorra?
and they are being rounded up as we speak.
Well, you know, we apparently know that there are 67,000 indictments that are going to be coming out, indictments and arrests. So,
indeed,
I'm sure there's probably more than that, but that's also come. So everything is going to basically come out all at once. The arrests, the RV, Gasara, and then right after that we get the full disclosure.
Indeed. That will be when your government will no longer be able to hide behind the curtain.
Okay.
They will no longer have control over you. I will tell you this. Your governments had put into orbit a ring of satellites around the planet. And these satellites were for prying into people's lives, or what you call taking away the privacy. All of those satellites have been disabled. All of them. Your governments no longer can observe what you're doing. They could in the past, but that has been put on what is called elimination. All of those satellites are malfunctioning and beginning to fall from the sky, from orbit. And they will fall into areas that are unpopulated and not cause harm.
Well,
so
that's good.
Yes, it is.
That's very good. But, okay, so so thank you for that information. We didn't know that. Before we talk about governments again, since we're talking about the governments, you know, we've had these, lots of people have died already from the fires that have occurred near Sacramento, in California, Southern California,
they have not died.
etc.
They have ascended.
Oh yes, they have. I apologize. They have ascended. So, what has been the trigger for these? Have these been manipulated again by government, or what? Why and why are so many? Why has there had to have been people ascending? I thought that we were past this, and then of course we have still the chemtrails.
Well, as you know, ascension goes on. Ascension goes on, and those that have ascended, because their contract was up, and that is why they ascended, and that is the only reason why they ascended. So those that, according to your understanding, perished, did not die. They did not feel pain.
Yeah.
They ascended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
So what was the cause? Yeah. So what was the cause of all these fires and why?
Some of it was natural from lightning strikes. Some of it was perpetrated by arson. And some was perpetrated by laser in the noses of aircraft.
That's from the government.
Indeed. They were testing what is called, they were testing a weapon, a precision laser, testing a weapon that could take out, I think that's the term they used, take out certain sects of population.
So
and
why wasn't the Galactics? Why didn't the Galactics intervene?
Understand that the lasers, when they were fired, they were being observed by our what's called scout vessels, and they observed how they were being fired. And many of them, of the lasers, veered off of their appointed target into the wilderness instead of being targeting a certain structure. So what is it better to have a forest fire or have a population of a dwelling perish or ascend?
We had 60,000 people die. Ascend.
No,
that's
ascend.
Yes, ascend. That's a lot of people.
Indeed, but that is ascension.
That is a travesty. I know.
It is a travesty in your understanding, but it is also a blessing to them that ascended.
It's still very sad that all of that had to occur. And when all of us, if you're able to dismantle all of these satellites, so that our privacy is no longer a problem, with the government.
Indeed.
How easily could you have done just preventing the fires when you see that coming instead of just observing and intervening at that point, Zorra?
Understand that these people already had, or they were under contract to ascend. Would you have rather us prevent their ascending? No.
All right, sir. I guess it's we hear when we see such destruction and such sadness occur. That we feel that, obviously, and of course, yes, ascension is a priority in however way.
But you also bring have the knowingness in you of knowing that when people, what you term die, they are not dying; they are ascending.
Okay.
And you rejoice for them. You do not need to mourn them. You simply let them know that it was time for them to ascend, and they are welcome to do so. And and understand when your time is, when your contract is up, no power on earth is going to prevent it.
All right. Okay, so, we have the fires, and then we still have these horrible chemtrails, Zorra. Could you please let us know what is going on with the chemtrails and why that has not been completely dissolved and gotten rid of at this point? We're getting closer to ascension. That has to be completely eliminated. Wouldn't you agree?
It will be. And it is ongoing. Many people have what is termed as taken video chemtrails, and they have noticed an erasing of many of them, and that is due to the ships that appear in these chemtrails to erase them.
So, do you think the chemtrails are, Zorra, do you think these chemtrails are going to be around until we completely, when is that going to be completely remedied, the chemtrails? Are we waiting for disclosure? What are we waiting for that to complete, so that the galactics can completely dismantle all of that? And so we can have, cleaner atmosphere.
Just prior to what is termed as the galactic disclosure, this will be a sign to you that the galactic disclosure is at hand, and that sign will be no chemtrails anywhere in any of the skies of the earth.
Okay, talking about events, Zorra. You haven't spoken at all about the big event of that wave the love wave, the light wave. Where is that?
That love wave,
still, Zorra?
It is still in what is called in slow motion. Not stopped, but in slow motion.
Almost stopped.
Almost stopped, but not. It will not stop. It is coming
until.
And it is, but it is coming. It is coming at what you call, what is termed as a snail's pace.
Is that going to come at? Will that come, Zorra, at when we exchange, or when is that coming, Zorra?
At the time of your exchange would be an ideal time for that to occur, because that would take away what would be termed as all thoughts of stealing, all thoughts of robbing, and things of this nature. And that would be an ideal time for that to occur. And so let us watch and see.
Okay. And then lastly, before we do questions and answers, Zorra, I do have a question from one of our family members in regards to, let me see. There's that individual or the entity called Marduk, Marduc. And when is he going to be removed?
You are speaking of whom?
Marduk, Marduc. This is the entity that trying to try to remove as well. You know, one of those other evil entities that are around.
Marduk?
Yeah, Marduk.
Marduk.
Right.
Marduk will also be what is termed collected.
Well, he's not of this dimension, Zorra.
He still will be collected.
Oh, as part of the evil entities that are still here.
Part of the cleaning up of your planet.
So how much of the cleanup for extraterrestrials or other beings that are of the evil, that are evil, when are they going to be removed completely? I thought, well, obviously, I remember that you had said no more negative entities can come in, but the ones that are here, obviously, we need to get rid of those. So when are they going to be completely, removed?
Eradicated?
Yes, well, whatever. We just need to remove them from our beautiful planet so we can make it a pristine again. Yeah, so when is that going to happen? And why can't we do it anyway?
That will be happening. Do what?
Remove him. Why don't you, the Alliance, Galactics, why aren't we removing these evil entities that are still present completely? We're not talking about the minions that are part of the, that are part human. We're talking about the other, that are human. We're talking about entities outside of humanity that are still around or are in human form.
Marduk will be collected shortly. And all others that are causing issues that are contrary to what is called the population are also going to be removed. And I will not give you a time.
Okay.
It is not for me to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I've probably asked a lot of questions already. For those of you that are still asking about the pyramids, I'm going to put this down for myself. We have some information that we we'll have to put on the website so that those
newsletter.
of you, I don't know if there's so much information there. It's going to have to go on the website. I'm going to have to ask our beloved person who
Indeed.
I don't want to name names to do this for us. So it's in regards to the pyramids. Okay. The other thing I want to mention as well, so I don't forget, we are going to be having a call with Ron Spence, and we will be joining with Jared once again because we're going to be talking again about the limbic arc. We've had numerous calls, emails, etc., about how to use it, how to download it. What do I do for this? I've got this complaint. What boost do I use, et cetera, et cetera. Ron Spence is also going to give us some updates. So please be on the call with Jared and myself and Ron. And that's going to be next Wednesday, which is the day before Thanksgiving, and it will be on his Time for Change call. And for those of you who do not listen to his meditation, which we very, very much encourage everyone at this time of our existence to please attend. That number for all of you is, hold on a second. That number, if you have your pen and pencil handy, that number to get into the call is 641-715-0857. Again, it's 641-715-0857, and the code is 303471#. And this is for next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a Time for Change with Ron Spence, ourselves, Quasar, and Zaraya, and it will be hosted by our beloved Jared Rand. Okay, so we hope to see you then. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open up the lines, and we'll go ahead and get some questions answered. And hold on one second. All right. I think what we'll do is we'll just go ahead with the first person is 606 ending in 8580.
Yes, this is Mary from Kentucky.
Hello, Mary. How are you?
I'm doing good. I hope you all are too. I wanted to thank Zaraya for reading that on Diana Robinson's book. I've got some of hers, and I love them. I can't wait to be able to swim with them. That's going to be so wonderful. I just love her reading. They're great.
Yes, they are. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Do you have a question for Zorra, Mary?
Yes, I do. I would like to know, Zorra, if Prime Creator is your father or source, and who are they?
Okay, Mary. That's a loaded question. All right, Zorra.
And what is what?
Okay, so let me just say, Mary, Mary would like to know for all of us what your relationship is to Prime Creator or Source, and who are they?
Source is the creator of all things, all galaxies, universes, things of that nature. And and Prime Creator is my father. Yes.
And who are they?
Who is Prime Creator, Zorra?
Who is Prime Creator?
Correct. I don't know how you explain Prime Creator, but go ahead. It's a good one.
Well, Prime Creator is an entity that is what is called male and female, or can be either or, and she appears in whatever form she desires, into whatever part of the world she happens to be in. In the case of what is called in the Arabian countries, she appears as a male. In other countries where the female is more prominent, she appears female. So, or vice versa, whichever she decides. But
right. So,
as to who she is, Prime Creator, is also the father of Yeshua. And for Yeshua is what you call Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
Okay. Do you praise Source? Do you worship Source?
I worship no one.
So you don't do like we do as Christians?
No, I do not need to worship anyone because, in a sense, we are all one. So why would you want to worship someone who's already you? Or why would you want to worship? Understand, when you do what is termed as, in Hollow Earth, we have no religion, as you term it. So we have no one to worship. We just allow them to be, allow each other to be as we wish to be. We allow you to be as you are, gods and goddesses, and you simply need to understand that Yeshua, or Sananda, which is a more appropriate or proper name for Yeshua, allows you to be who you are. And knowing this, as you are asking, knowing this takes away the question as to who they are or what they are, because it is irrelevant as to who or what they are.
Right. So Zorra,
why would you want to know who they are?
Yeah. If I could just say a couple of things here, just to kind of clarify it from this point, from our point of view. So, Mary, when you become fully evolved, when you are fully evolved, this is not a question. You will already be in full fifth dimension, and you will, at that point, understand who you really are, that you are absolutely one with the divine creator, which people in the Christian world call as God. And as far as Prime Creator is and source, from which all of us come from, they are all one because they have that full understanding. Many people still on the surface are still moving along that path to understanding fully that you are that God, that you are God also. So you are that part of source. You are part of everything. And so there is no lesser than or greater than, and then that is where we become only one voice, all one. So I know it's probably going to be really hard for a lot of people to kind of grasp that, but that's where we're going to. Do you understand?
Well,
is that all right, Mary? Okay. Go ahead.
I understand that I am a goddess. I understand that we are a piece of Source, Prime Creator, that we have a spark of Him in us. I understand that. So if we worship anyone, it should be ourselves.
Say that again?
So if we worship anyone, it should be ourselves, because I know that we have a spark of God, Prime Creator in us.
Okay.
Indeed you
correct?
Do. That is correct.
Okay, I understand that.
And you are correct. You should worship yourselves.
I understand, because I am a goddess.
Okay,
Indeed
very
you
good.
are.
Okay,
Okay,
Mary.
I got you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay, I
dear.
appreciate
Okay, let's go on to the next person. And this person
And you're
is...
also and you are also a healer, so go out and heal.
Okay.
I have... All right, thank you, dear. Okay, bye. All right, we have someone else on the phone now. Please let us know who you are and where you're calling from. This is a restricted number.
Hello?
Oh, beloved Tom.
This is 208 Tom, the one who knows in Idaho. Hey, you know, I love your format and your protocol all today because literally you got back to the basics about what this
Indeed.
network seems to be about, the Hollow Earth, Zorra of Hollow Earth Network. Anyway, that was a beautiful, wonderful presentation and contribution Zaraya presented today. And I already sent him a thank you. I'm issuing you a thank you, beloved Quasar Jane or Jane Quasar, whichever you want it. And I'm also thanking our beloved Zorra. But I would like to make a contribution myself, if I may, and issue in the form of a thank you. Anyway, like I said, I thank you all for getting back to the basics. This is really important and very timely about what's going on. And I told our beloved Quasar and Jane the last time I actually encountered them up at the Galactic Wisdom Conference that people always ask these questions. When are we going to have an RV? I've also mentioned several times, I can tell you exactly when it's going to happen, when you get rid of the criminal element and the politics on the surface. But as far as that goes, we don't need any money or any politics either, and because there is no government. We just described that today, and that was Zora's presentation. So when you get rid of that on the surface, it's pretty clear that all these other problems are going to go away. And another thing I like to point out to people, why would you want all this money anyway? You can't use it, you can't take it with you, and we're all slated for ascension. And I'm going to tell you all, folks, there ain't no baggage cars on the top of them hearse when they haul you away. So you can't take it with you. So why do you beat yourself up over it and worry about it? And it's all in good hands. It's going to take place when it's supposed to, not 1 minute sooner. And that'll be when you eliminate the politics, you eradicate them off the planet. And we talked about a gentle push, Zorra. I'm going to recommend that you give all these criminal elements and the ones that are putting out the chemtrails, I'm going to say you give them a big shove. Get rid of them all at once. So anyway, I love you all. I thank you for contributions. And just give them a big shove, Zorra, and the world would be instantly a better place to be. I yield.
Thank you. Well, I'm Tom. Thank you. That was great.
I heard what you term as a joke concerning what is called. It was stated as such. Have you ever seen what is termed as a U-Haul behind a hearse?
You know, I really haven't. I can't recall one. but you know, it took a lot of prodding for beloved Quasar to get the purpose of why Zaraya was brought here, and she finally connected with it, though. She finally prodded you, beloved Zorra, that the purpose, and I commented on this a long time ago. I said, these people that do these imitation channelings, what she brought up about the Diane Robbins books, all those are channeled. He also brought up the Library of Portal Logos. All these things are definitely enlightening for people that just don't get it. I mean, the Hollow Earth it's like sacred ground totally. And anyway, she took a while to prod you into putting off there what the purpose, the sole purpose, in my opinion. Zaraya was brought here so you could be here with us and share your enlightenment. I appreciate it. I love you all. I yield.
We love you too. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you, beloved Tom. Okay. All right. we are going to have like only 10 more minutes left so that everybody can join Jared on our meditation for today. So here is 208 ending in 8394. Hello, 8394. That's 208 ending in 8394. You're on the call with Zorra. Okay, we're going to go now to the next person, and that is 970 ending in 3786.
Yes, hello, Zorra and Quasar. This is Barbara in Colorado. Okay, so basically what's been running through my mind and heart is all of us are awakened. All of us are waiting. All of us are so ready to join together and manifest this golden age and be free of the dark and all of the stuff that's happened. So it seems like we're just like we've been in this waiting pattern, and I think when you brought up, Jane, about the fires, and we've seen the devastation, and we see the suffering, and it continues and continues and continues, and we're all kind of like, what more can we do? We're raising our vibration. We're trying to come together. I mean, it's like, what's it going to take?
Yeah, we have only 60 seconds left, Zorra.
To take the leap.
Okay. All right. We're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 right now, Zorra. The call is ending. 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Receive.
We thank everyone for being on our call today. We thank you, Zorra, for being here as well, especially for you to be here with us, and Zaraya. Much love to all of you. Continue doing your great work. We're almost there. So we love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Here we go. We are finished.